Hey guys, welcome to the channel. This is going to be part 2 of Audi RS3 versus Golf R. This is going to be why the Golf R is better than the RS3. I'd love to have it sitting right here, right in front of me to compare them, but I obviously traded in my Golf R for an RS3, so I don't have the Golf R anymore. But this is going to be a video going over all the reasons why the Golf R is actually better, and then I'll share my personal thoughts at the end of the video so you guys can hear like my opinion since I've owned both of them. So first off, the looks. Beauty's in the eye of the beholder, but I do really like the way the Golf R looks. This one, it does look really aggressive and cool. Like, it's definitely a good looking sedan, but it could be confused for like a Jetta, or maybe like a, you know, like a Jetta with like the R line package, or like one of those sporty packages or something. It can be confused with that, you know, because it does look kind of similar. But I did like the way the Golf R looked, but that's all like opinion based. Beauty's in the eye of the beholder, like I said. So it's up to you to decide if you think the RS3 or the Golf R looks better, because the Golf R did have the cool quad tip exhaust with like the cool pedestal style spoiler and stuff. So next up, why the Golf R is better is the storage space. So let's go ahead and hop inside here. So look at this door opening here. So this is similar to the Golf R, but it's a little bit like, it's not as good as the Golf R was like to get in and out of. And these seats, they look amazing. They're Napa leather. They have these really cool diamond stitching to them. I picked the red stitching on mine, but the Golf R also had Napa leather seats, but it had perforations and they were ventilated. So the Golf R technically had more features and better seats actually, because again, like I said, they're both super nice leather, but the Golf R had ventilated seats and also they're perforated as well. Steering wheel, this is a really cool steering wheel. It's the Audi RS steering wheel. It feels nice, but the Golf R had a flat bottom. The RS3 for the US market does not have a flat bottom steering wheel, and then this steering wheel is not heated, whereas the Golf R had an actual heated steering wheel. So that's another kind of downside. Pedal box, all that stuff is exactly the same. The carpet quality is the same. It's not not the greatest carpet in the world. Another thing the Golf R had over this one is the storage pockets were much bigger. So this is kind of like a really thin storage pocket. The Golf R had a really big storage pocket, and it was actually lined in felt. This one, even though it's an Audi and it's supposed to be like a higher end car, is not even lined in felt with the door pocket. So that's kind of a weird thing. Back seat space, legroom is the exact same as the Golf R. But the downside to the RS3 is that since it's a sedan and it doesn't have that like roof that goes back like this and kind of cuts off, you don't have a lot of headroom in the back. So you have to be a shorter person, maybe I'd say like probably like 5'10" and under, in order to sit back here without hitting your head on the top of the ceiling. So that's one downside. It does still have the armrest like the Golf R had. You can see there. And then look at this rear seat climate control. Nowhere near as nice and as detailed as the Golf R was. The Golf R actually had a screen, it had a temperature control, and the rear seats were heated, and they had the 2 USBs. This one does have rear air vents, so they didn't skimp there. So it has these really nice, beautiful Napa leather seats in the back, but it doesn't have heated rear seats, and the Golf R does. So what's that about? Trunk space. So trunk space is tiny in this car. I have this little box that just barely fits in there just right. The Golf R obviously is a hatchback, so there's way more room in the back here. You can open up the trunk all the way, you can fold the seats down. I was able to put 2 full-size, fully assembled end tables to my couch in the Golf R with no problem at all. If I had this car, I wouldn't even be able to put it in there. Another thing while we're here in the back, the Golf R had real exhaust tips. It was quad tip exhaust on each side. This one, it does have a cool little exhaust finisher there, but they're not real exhaust tips. So if you look down closely, you can see the little pipes in the cutout. So thankfully it's not like some Audis where they have like a fake like exhaust tip. This one is a real exhaust tip, but it's not like the exhaust is not fully connected to it. And that's just little things. I mean, that's not a big deal, but they are little things that kind of make the Golf R better in my personal opinion. These are 265s. These are 245s. And I'm sure that helps with the handling and with it, you know, kind of squaring off the back end when you're going around corners and stuff, so it doesn't feel so front wheel drive based. Unfortunately, you can't rotate your tires when they're staggered like this. And again, a lot of cars have staggered tires, like my M2 has staggered tires, But when you're comparing this car to a Golf R, you can rotate the tires, you can rotate front to back and all that. This one, you can't do that because it has wider tires in the front than the back, which is kind of a weird design. I mean, it does look really beefy and stuff in the front. It has the wide fenders, but it is kind of weird having the front stick out further than the back. So I already mentioned all the stuff like the flat bottom steering wheel and all that good stuff. Another thing that the Golf R has over this car is the ambient lighting is better. So it actually lights up in the door pockets on the Golf R, and it also lights up a strip across here. Whereas the RS3 for 2024, you cannot get that strip right here anymore. And then I think on the previous ones, if you got the RS design package or whatever, delete that as well. But for 2024, you cannot get the LED strip that goes across here, which is really unfortunate. I'm a sucker for having good ambient lighting. I love ambient lighting, and this car just doesn't have as much ambient lighting as the Golf R does. It just simply doesn't. And then the Golf R had lots of nice customization. This one kind of does too, but you know, I don't know, I feel like the Golf R had more. Another thing too, which is actually good that we're taking off now, the Golf R has slightly more low end torque than this car. I wouldn't say it's a massive difference because the Golf R, it didn't have like a bunch of low end torque like by GTI did, but it does have decent low end torque. This one, you have to kind of be like 3,500 RPM, 3,000 and above for it to start like going. So let's put ourselves in manual mode. So we're in third gear, we're at 3,500, right? So this is where the power kind of is. Okay, takes off pretty good, right? Takes off okay. But for lower RPMs, like let's say we're staying in fourth gear and we want to just kind of get past somebody, we're at, let's say 2,500 for example. Get on it, nothing, turbo lag, turbo lag, turbo lag, turbo lag. Now it's finally starting to pull. So not a big deal, but you know, having low end torque is nice, especially since I'm using this car as a daily driver. Having low end torque is kind of important for, you know, getting in and out of traffic, not feeling like, you know, you're going all out all the time. That's one thing I kind of disliked about the Mustang I used to have. It's a 5.0 and it makes all the power pass like 4,500 RPM. So when you're like putting around, it just doesn't really feel that fast. It sounds good, it just doesn't feel fast. So this car is kind of similar in that sense. It's a little bit better than a 5.0 Mustang. It's not as instant, but it does have torque come on a little sooner, if that makes sense. Because this car has a turbo, so it has lag, whereas a naturally aspirated engine does not. It still takes a while, like past like 3,500 RPM for it to like get going. So that's kind of annoying. Another thing, the transmission. It's a DQ500, it's a cool transmission, but the Golf R's transmission was a little bit more smooth. Now this one going up through the gears is fine, but when you're slowing down, every time it goes to second gear, it does like a lurch forward, and it's really frustrating. The Golf R never did that. The Golf R did do that weird thing when I'd shift into third gear and it'd clunk in the paddle shifters. I haven't noticed that with this one yet, but slowing down is really annoying. It kind of clunks into second gear. Obviously all those points are a lot of reasons why I liked my Golf R as a daily driver better than this car. The Golf R is much less expensive of a vehicle, $20,000 less, which is a huge difference. You know, if you're talking about, you know, if you're a payment guy, you know, that's another like $400 in payment difference, like $350 to $400 difference in payment. So, you know, that's a pretty big difference for, you know, a car that doesn't really do that much more than the Golf R does, other than the speed, the power potential, the sound, but that's pretty much it. That's literally like the only things that this does better than the Golf R. Which one is better is all up to you. My thoughts on it are, if you're going for all-out power and power potential, like you want to make it fast and all that, RS3 is a better choice, hands down, right? But if you're looking for a daily driver, you're okay with doing a tiny like tune, because the Golf R can run E85 without messing with anything. I don't think this one can. The Golf R is the better choice. It just does daily driver things better. It's slightly shorter, so it's easier to park. It fits in the garage better. The Golf R has way more cargo space. It's just a better daily driver. Now, is it a better car than the RS3? Objectively, no, but it is a better daily driver. So for my purposes, the Golf R actually works better, and I might get into another Golf R in the future if this car doesn't grow on me. But The part that this car really excels at is just like the sound. Like I do like the sound, and I like the shift sound. So let's do a little acceleration here. See, that actually felt pretty quick. This car is so weird. Sometimes it feels fast and sometimes it doesn't. That actually felt pretty quick. Let's take this turn here. Let me know what you guys think. Do you like the Golf R better than the RS3, or do you think the RS3 is much better, worth the $20,000 difference? I want to hear your thoughts in the comments below. If you enjoyed this video, please give it a like and subscribe, and I will see you in the next one.